Listen up, people. Manscaped have done it again. This time, it's the Chairman Pro, giving you a clean, close shave. The Chairman Pro is waterproof. The Chairman Pro has long-lasting battery life. And you use the code FTM20 and you will get 20% off of this product. Big up, people. How you doing? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to you all, wherever you're listening around the world. 12th man's back. Gooner to Gooner is back, and it is one of my favorite Gooners and a good friend of the show and a good friend of mine, Turkish. Bro, it's been too long, man. How are you, man?
Yeah, it has been long still. I can't lie. I'm good, man. Busy, but can't complain, man. Busy's good.
Yeah, man, a good sort of busy is good anyway, and you're absolutely smashing it, man. If you're not done so already, make sure you're following both Turkish LDN and, of course, the Big Six, one of my favorite my favorite podcast, in my opinion, favorite show on YouTube. All great guys as well, which is always good. I'm going to be biased because I know they're all my boys, but it is one of the best shows. And big up to you last night, man. How did the event go?
I was nice, man. Obviously, Rival Tears are stocking up in Wing Kings, so it was a little launch event. Sold out. A lot of love, a lot of people there that like the show, Big Six show, like the stuff. X was there, Robbie was there, a few people. It was good it's always good to engage with the community, man, because that's what that's what it's about. At the end of the day, there's no difference between us and the people in the chat or the people who came last night. We're all fans of football. It's just that we have the privilege of speaking to hundreds, thousands at times. That's the only difference. Aside from that, it's always good to engage, man. You as well. We're kind of community-led channels. We build a strong community and we try and take care of them. So it was a good event, man. And Steve, he was more than happy with the turnout. So all in all, 10-10.
Yeah, come on, man. Absolute legend. That's what's so great about you guys. Also humble, appreciate what you're doing, and you're great footballing guys, man. You know your stuff, and that's what's great about it. And you're right, you do build communities within this section of the game. And I feel like there's a real opportunity to do more events like that and reach out, and people that genuinely just want to chat, say thank you for the entertainment you give them in the evenings and in the day. So I'm 100%, man. I think you all deserve that without a doubt. So listen, big up for coming on, man. A lot of people are very excited to have you on with me today. So I really appreciate your time, bro. I know you're busy. Let's talk, man.
Come on.
Arsenal. I mean, look, when that window shut, you and I were two of quite a minority, I would say, that were like, meh, is that it? Like, really? We're not serious. And I said on every single channel, spoke to judges, spoke to FTV, spoke to all my platforms, especially on this channel. And I said, it ain't happening this year, people. We ain't serious. We've got an ownership that lack ambition. We've got a board that clearly are too inexperienced to know what it means to win. And we're trying to ask the manager to try and compete with the very best by giving him the limited tools, in my opinion, in particular in this summer transfer window. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Arsenal have got a good squad. I don't think it's a squad that's good enough to get us across the line now. And when I look at the names that we've been linked with over the last few windows, it's just deflating when we look at the window shutting and we've not got those names in. And I go back and I mentioned this on Judge's channel. I mentioned it with Sophie last night, and I wanted to mention it with you because I'm not just going to sit here over an hour with you and slam the Kroenkes, but I just want to ask serious questions and concerns that I have about it. This ain't just the Arteta regime that I look at with this ownership, bro, because the amount of transfer windows that have been deflating for me come previous to Edu and Arteta. Yeah, I've been talking about this for a very long time, and I know that you're on the same page most of the time with me about the Kroenkes. It's been roughly 20 years, just shy of now. We had Ozil and Sanchez. We had Fabregas and Van Persie. We've had Aubameyang. We've had Lacazette. And now we're at a situation where we've actually got quite a good squad, but we've always been short in a particular department. When we had Fabregas and Van Persie just moving from Highbury to the Emirates and the Kroenkes come on board, they had no CDM after Vieira. We had to wait years with Song and Coquelin and Granit Xhaka. Then we get the Ozil and Sanchez of this world, and who have they got to feed? Just Giroud, nobody else, which is probably in the position we're in now in 2016 of having Giroud. We've only got Kai Havertz now, right? Then we get the strikers in Aubameyang and Lacazette, and we're like, yeah, now let's make do with Socrates and Mustafi at the back. Like, why is it always with the Kroenkes ownership a department that we're missing? Because people will say to me, it ain't the Kroenkes, you can't point the finger because look at the money they've spent. But they have left us short in departments for every single season. and that has lacked the ambition to get across the line. So I don't know what your thoughts are on this one, bro, but I'm kind of getting a bit peeved by it now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lazy argument to say, look at how much they've spent, because it's in and around the same amount that all the other big six clubs have spent in the last 6 years as well. We're not first on that list, contrary to common banter online. It's not us that have spent the most in the last 5 years. I think we're third or fourth in that list. But this ain't me dismissing the money they have spent. Obviously, there has been a turn in our transfer dealings in the last 6 years. You can link it to 2018 when they took over. Cool, there has been. But my argument's always been, hold on, okay, you tell us in 2018 that you're full owners now, and then a lot of the fan base are fed that they didn't want to invest as much because Usmanov was there and it wasn't fully their business, and making arguments for that. So fine. Even if I take that argument, which I had to take because there was no, they put a new face there, Josh Kroenke, and they said, be excited and all of that. But the reality is, I don't give a shit if you didn't want to invest while Usmanov there. The business side of things ain't got nothing to do with me. The shares ain't got nothing to do with me. So your personal feud or battle with Usmanov for 15 years or patience for 15 years, I don't own the club now. You got to do is make up for that. So really, I'm not hearing that, we just make profit in the window where we all expected to close that 2-point gap on Man City and overtake them. I'm not hearing that. They had to have gone over and beyond because of the patience that they had to show to wait for Usmanov to go, or all of this nonsense. You can't just take the piss for 15 years because you don't want to deal while he's in the business and then expect me to accept that, and then not expect you to go over and beyond from telling man to be excited. So yes, we've spent money. We've spent in and around the top clubs in the last 5-6 years. But the reality is, when push comes to shove and we have to take that extra risk, we have to put the extra bit of money down, even if it does leave us in a precarious position where we have to win this year to balance out the books, then take that risk. I'm tired of this club not taking those risks, because imagine we didn't take any risks, and then it led to us being in a financial mess come 2018, 2019. I'd accept it more if we were taking risks over that time. It was utter stupidity that got us into that financial mess. At least with risk taking, you can understand this. And there was a player there. They thought it might work, and then people might argue Pepe was that guy. So what? We take a risk on one player, it doesn't work, and we don't take another risk again. What kind of nonsense is that? We're watching teams around us take risks, take risks, take risks. It's all about taking risks. You don't know which player is going to hit the ground running. You don't know which player is going to come in and fall off completely. It's a business of taking risks, especially now when the market is so poor in terms of finding the top talent, identifying the top talent, because football's all cog based now. A lot of the cogs are looking eerily similar across Europe.
Listen, man, people talk to me quite a lot about throwing back in my face. Well, you don't know that it's the Kroenkes. It could be Mikel, it could be Edu, it could be a combination. The man really think that the Kroenkes are going to go up to Arteta and Edu and go, do you want 200 million to spend on a couple more players? And they're going to go, nah, man, no thanks. I'm quite happy with what I've got. Like, what are they trying to get at then? Like, if it's not the Kroenkes, where is it? Like, where do you stand on this? Do you think Arteta and, I mean, Edu's gone now, but Arteta and Edu at the past we talk about now, I've had those past windows. Is it the Kroenkes not willing to put money in their pocket? Is it Arteta saying that actually doesn't want a striker? Is it a little bit of culmination of the both? Because I just can't believe we're 5 years in Turkish, 700 million deep, and we don't have a forward other than Havertz at the club.
Again, I have to look back a little bit to provide the context. But listen, Wenger was never the biggest problem come the end of his reign at Arsenal. He was the shield to the biggest problem, and he took that mantle on, full chest. He lied to us, telling us nonsense to our faces, and we had to eat it because of the credit in the bank. But the reality is, he was protecting this ownership. 2018, the decision to move him on. We finished outside the Champions League 2 years in a row. Not good enough. It's actually affecting the pockets of the Kroenkes. A year later, Wenger has a chance to he brings out a book. He has a chance to, I was eagerly anticipating this book. He has a chance to open up a bit. I don't understand it, but I can understand it a little, siding with the people that are paying you. That's what he did towards the end. He instead of being real with the fans, he started talking shit for the owners, and he was getting paid well for it. One of the highest paid managers in Europe. Let's not forget that he was the highest paid in the league for many years, I think. So imagine that without winning anything, without winning any majors. So I thought this book's gonna come out, and it's his chance now, a year and a half on, to expose a little bit, not necessarily expose wholeheartedly, because you obviously got some connection there, because you haven't came out to speak about it since. But I expected you to be a bit more open about, what happened. Instead, he avoided the subject completely, didn't really talk about it. And the same day, Josh Kroenke come out and said, we never denied Wenger funds. So the same day, Wenger had a chance in his book release to talk a bit about the situation and why it panned out like that. He chose not to. Maybe it's because he's classy. Maybe it's all of this nonsense, because it wasn't classy what they did to him. Yeah, maybe that's his choice. The same day, it's not a coincidence, Josh comes out and says, we didn't deny him funds. So that whole era now, all I know, the facts are, Wenger had a chance to speak, didn't speak. Josh comes out and says, we never denied him funds. So really and truly, I might have been taught, well, judging off those facts, those two facts, Wenger not speaking, Josh putting it on him, it looks like I'm chatting shit. That the owners, but you can't do that again, Josh. You can't do that again, Stan. I'm not hearing that with Mikel in 2-3 years. You come out and say, we never denied him no funds. Nah, not again. You might have done that with Wenger. I don't believe you, but cool. That was your excuse once. There's no excuse again, because you step in as good owners. You identify that maybe the manager needs a little something. Maybe you talk to the sporting director. You cannot leave everything and just not learn from the mistakes you made in the past. And that's seemingly in the summer what happened. But then what happens? Arteta signs a contract, and amongst signing that contract, he starts talking. The best owners in the world, I haven't seen nothing like them. That's a complete and utter lie. That is a lie, because he's worked at Man City. So we know that's a lie. But because they've supported him, because they've, given him that contract when he was on the losing run at the end of the 21-22 season or around that, that was a big thing for him. I get it. Put myself in his shoes. I'm losing pressure on me, and my owner say, here's a new contract. Fair enough. But he's talking from a personal perspective now when he says best owners in the world. Don't tell the fans they're the best owners in the world, because even there are other clubs that people use to justify Arsenal are next. Arsenal have been next, apparently, for the last 2 years. Denver Nuggets have won one thing in 20-something years. LA Rams have won one thing in 20-something years. That Polo, whatever other fucking sport he owns, they've won one something in 20 years. So if I'm going to judge it by then and say, okay, we might be next. What, one in 20 years? And then what? What's happened to Nuggets? What's going on with Rams now? What's happened since they've won their titles? So I'm not here for one and done after 20 years. Fuck all that. That ain't acceptable. But obviously, we want that one first. But I'm sorry, but one doesn't take the pressure off these owners when if we eventually get there.
Bro, this is why I love getting you on, man. Spitting pure facts. Imagine winning one thing in 20 years and people going, oh, we're next. What, to win one? And then what happens to 20 years after? They're done, are they? I mean, listen, maybe we'll win one and then they're done and they get out as well, man, because I'm sick and tired of them, if I'm honest with you, and have been for a while. You mentioned the Wenger book there, and I couldn't agree more. I read it on holiday and I got to the last page and I was like, right, I've learned nothing. I have learned nothing from that waste of pretty much 4 days reading a book, because for me, I'm a massive Arsenal fan. I'm a big Arsene Wenger fan and was back then. First 10 years, superb. Last 10 years, disappointing. But I learned nothing because I knew a lot about the guy. I knew the majority of his upbringing. I knew the majority of his understanding of football. I understood that there were parts of the game he'd like to change. He mentioned that in the book. He also mentioned players that he had a lot of time for. He didn't mention the worst summer of his life, which were his words, when Nasri and Clichy and Fabregas all went. He didn't mention once the Kroenkes and how they held back money. He started to make excuses about how we were just a club that had to sell our best players. And someone's mentioned in the comments about how he's so surprised on BN Sports that Mikel Arteta has been allowed to spend all this money that he wasn't allowed to spend. I'm like, this is all just waffle. This is all just absolute waffle. And the listen, I respect the guy and always will respect him, but he needed to go and he got right on my nerves in the end because this guy was not saying it how it is. And I've always said, say it how it is. I've always been like that with football content. I've always been like that with fans, and I've always been like it with football clubs. That's why I like Roy Keane as a pundit because he'll say it how it is. I don't like pundits that waffle. I don't like football fans that waffle, right? So just say it how it is. And look, the title of this is about lacking ambition. And I wanted to kind of touch on what I mean by that because I can argue that the Kroenkes have done a good job in the last couple of years to get us back challenging. If you want to go down that road, cool. But I don't want to be challenging Turkish. We should always be challenging at the bare minimum, yeah? We should be challenging alongside winning trophies. And this is why when people say to me about Mikel this season, would you be happy with the process if we won a trophy and come eighth? No, because we ain't challenging. That's why Ten Hag got sacked. We have to be challenging and winning something. So give me a League Cup and an FA Cup by all means, but make sure we take City to the last day. Don't be coming 12 points off of them and then winning the Carabao Cup and going, see, one side now. Nah, man, I ain't waited this long to be winning Carabao Cups and finishing 12 points off of the rivals that you finished 2 points off of the season before. So that's where I'm at, bro. What do you make of that statement? Kroenke's lack ambition to win. What do you make of that?
It's a fact. I mean, someone tell me different. That to me is a fact. I mean, they've Stan already came in the first few years, maybe in the early 2010s, I forgot, maybe 15 years ago, and said it's not about trophies, or we're not in this for trophies. You know, that was a direct quote. And I know since 2018, it's been, you know, we want the major trophies and be excited and all of that. But listen, a crucial time this last, you know, transfer window. It was back to square one. We've had a year back in Champions League. We're a Champions League club again. And to be honest, maybe a bit further than square one in terms of we are actually challenging. Square one in terms of the Kroenke's, in terms of Wenger leaving, was we was out of the top four and whatnot. But in terms of what he sold us, it was top four Champions League. So this summer, back in Champions League, 2 years in a row, strong team. You've got a manager that's got a philosophy that's, you know, bringing 90 goals, 90 points or whatever it was, you know, big numbers across the season. What do you do being back in this position? What do? You go fuck it by buying another centre back number 8. And to be honest with you, that's more on Arteta where he decided to spend these funds, right? But why have we made a net profit overall? That means the budget wasn't really budgeting for closing the gap on Man City or winning this, or really trying to win this league without hoping that there's a fall off from Man City. I think that was what our window told us. You know, we've added the necessary depth for quality in certain positions, but we're hoping for a little Man City drop off. I looked at the Gundogan signing and I said, year on year now, Man City are a worse side. Year on year. Since the treble season, first summer, they lost Mahrez and Gundogan. Next summer, they bring back Gundogan, lose Alvarez. Like, year on year, there were, and we're seeing that now. And not just the poor run they've been on in results. All season, they haven't been the... Haaland's the only real threat in front of goal. Listen, Rodri being out is massive. De Bruyne's coming back in. But it's not the Man City we know. So it was about us making sure we are in the prime position to be where Liverpool are now, next to them, just below them, just above them. Because take nothing away from Liverpool. I'm not saying we should be first and they should be third. They deserve to be first. But our trajectory, what we needed to do, it wasn't be on the same points as Chelsea and Brighton after 11 games. That don't make no sense. So ambition-wise, I ended last season tongue-in-cheek, slyly, because part of me is trying to lift the standards a little bit. But I said, Mbappe, go at least call Mbappe. At least just call him. I know it's sorted to Real. Like I said, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but because I know... Because I know what fans will say back to me, yeah? And I don't mean opposition fans. They will laugh about it, and I get that. That's cool. But Arsenal fans will laugh. And I'm just like, listen, we was told we're moving into this stadium off the back of 13 league titles, 3 in the last 7 years, a Champions League final. We didn't win it, but we had legends in the side. We had the greatest Premier League player of all time. It was about the next step. And 20 years after moving in, I'm sorry, I want to at least go for the best players in the world. Now, okay, Mbappe's tongue-in-cheek, but that was to set up, the standards in the summer to be like, all right, who is the best players we can get out there? Because we need a killer. We need someone that's going to come in and the rest of the players are going to be like, yo, we got him coming in. Cool. Because Saka wasn't saying we got Calafiori coming in. Oof. Did you get it? Like Rice wasn't saying we got Marino coming in. Ooh, we're going to do this. We didn't sign players where us fans or the players there will be like, or opposition will be like, ooh, these men signed him. It's going to be a long season. That's what we needed to do this summer. We've seen Man City sign players where we've looked at and say it's a long season for Liverpool, or it's a long season for whoever, when they send Haaland, for example. We've seen Man United buy players, albeit they haven't worked out, where we think long season. Chelsea have done the same. Liverpool have probably been the best example of a team that has just got kind of everything right in terms of, the finances, the manager coming in, the structure, the sporting director. It's a bit different because they never really signed a star. I'll be honest. They signed the players that looked like they, needed the step up, deserved the step up, and Klopp knitted it all together. So they're a bit different. But Arteta's done that in some way. You told us be excited. We signed Saliba. We wait 3 years. Now, 6 years later, he's one of the best centre-backs in the world. What are we doing for him? We're bringing in 17-year-old Ranieri. Nah, brother. We waited 6 years for Saliba to be one of the best centre-backs in the world. Give him a star in front. Give him a player that he can look at and say, that guy's going to go win us the league. Don't give the players that we waited 6 years for, Saliba, Saka, and Odegaard, and not 6 years with him, but you know what I mean. Don't give these players that we've already been patient for as fans more players to be patient with. That was where we fucked up last time with Fabregas and all these, man. These players now, they're there. We know their quality. We know they can put up. The question is, can they get over the line mentally? Are they bring the players in that we had to? And we didn't do that, bro. We didn't do that. We ain't got a striker. So it's just a joke thing. Like, how can we not have a striker? Our history is embedded with top strikers. Well, in my lifetime anyway, and prior. But my lifetime, Ian Wright, Nicholas Anelka, Dennis Bergkamp, Thierry Henry, like that was the era. Even Will Torden, Carnu, and these man. But now it's Havertz and Jesus. So as much as we look at why are we the best defense in the league, and I'm talking at the end of last season now, because of Saliba, because this partnership with Gabriel, Ben White, he's been a top signing. He's been moved to right back. He can do it all, invert, overlap. Left back, we've had a bit of problems, but Zinchenko's been a part of it. Tomiyasu's done a job there. Kivio's done a job there. We're a good unit. Praise all day long for that, because that is the foundation. And under Wenger towards the end, he created embarrassing defense after embarrassing defense after embarrassing defense. So Arteta deserves hella credit for that. But on the flip side, when things ain't going right up top, and I'm looking at who have you bought as striker? Jesus and Havertz, whilst giving Eddie number 14 and a new contract. Dead. Yeah, because Jesus at the time upped the level, but we all knew that we needed another striker on Jesus. Havertz comes in, doesn't work at midfield, becomes striker. Decent. Jesus got 11 goals in his first season. Havertz got what, 13 last year? So after Jesus' first year, we knew we needed another striker. All of a sudden, after Havertz's first year, we don't need another striker, let's go. He got 2 more goals than Jesus did. He's not a striker either. That's the ambition for you. There was players out there, left wingers, strikers. There was players out there. That's another joke thing. Who could we have got? Piss off. That's why I say it's not my job anymore. Like, you don't ask, because that's a cop-out. Asking me who you want next in terms of a manager, or asking me who we could have bought at left wing. That's just a cop-out, because anyone I say or feel, the clapback will be, we can't get him. But what has he done? Oh, he's in that league. You think he can do it in this league? It's just a set-up question to just counter. Don't ask me that question. I just know there was players available in the summer, without a doubt, that would have improved this attack, because this attack all round is quite poor. And we're talking top level here. Don't compare us to Ipswich or whoever else and say, oh, we're not that, because all of a sudden we've got fans doing that now. Oh, you're so entitled, Turkish. Who are you to say we should be first? Are you sick? Like, how can you challenge twice and then say to the man that expects us to be first, why do you think we should be first? You're entitled. Bro, Liverpool are a bigger side than us, but so are Man United. Doesn't mean all of a sudden they should be above us because they're a bigger side. Liverpool have done extremely well this year, but we should be a lot closer to them than we are now. And that goes down to ambition again. It all goes down to the Kroenkes. That's what everything goes down to them.
Facts, bro. Listen, I love what you said there, because for me, I'm in your boat. I get a lot of people that come back at me. And I remember when I started this game, the first thing you do is when you look at the comments to get some feedback on the stuff that you're saying. I don't do that anymore, by the way. Trust me, I learned that quickly. But the amount of abuse that you get for trying to be ambitious and trying to want to win. And I know that you and I are very, very similar on that, and you get quite a lot of abuse as well. And so do I about it. I would love to ask them people, what is it that they're happy about right now then? What have they seen in the last 2 decades to make them go, we are competing at the very best? Don't go support Man City or Chelsea. Stick with us because this is what we do. Because I would say under this ownership that we've been a shambles at times, if I'm honest with you. They can celebrate a few FA Cups, the Cronkies, in their reign. That's it. We've got close to the Champions League. They haven't really got close to titles, if I'm honest with you. I mean, we look at it, we all once we bottled it in those seasons, we knew we were going to never come back to it. So I don't think they can be proud of their reign whatsoever. I think their regime has been a nightmare. But let me take it away from the Cronkies for a sec, because I understand the passion and the hatred.
Josh is painted on the side. I'll never forget. Like, I'll never understand that. I'll never understand that. You know, I just never understand how
I couldn't believe when I saw that. I couldn't believe when I saw that. I walked past and I was like, right, okay. So we've got some legends on here, all good with Ian Wright.
Yeah. I actually like the paintings.
I love that.
Same. You know, I know to be honest, I know the guy doesn't like me. There's no, I know that because of the AFTV stuff. I get that, but I don't care. Yeah, that's cool. I actually like the paintings, you know, in terms of the players and the moments and that. But Josh Kroenke, like, it's just come on, man. Like, it's too much. Like, it just doesn't make no sense. It just doesn't make.
I agree. I couldn't believe when I saw that, man. I can understand the manager being on there. I can understand ex-players, and absolutely, if you want to put current players on there, all good. But when I saw that, I was actually with Hoggy, and you know Russ, he's not a Kroenke fan at all, and he was like, "What the hell is that?"
He probably would have he wants to tear that down brick by brick. I'm sure. I know Russ.
Yeah, Russ ain't a fan, man. Russ ain't a fan. Big up to Russ. But look, man, I've got to be real. Some of the stuff this season has not all been the Cronkies. We know is ultimately the problem. And if things are going wrong with other areas of the club, it's still, in my opinion, down to them because they haven't put these people in charge, right? But let's just talk about the manager this season for a sec, because I haven't been impressed, bro. And you know me, I've not been 100% convinced. I would say one of the only things you and I see maybe size a little bit different is the manager. I think you've been kind of really impressed by what he's done, and I respect that. And I think that the way that he's got us back challenging is great. But I just don't think this guy's going to get us across the line, man. And I've been fairly consistent with that throughout 5 years. Is it 6 years nearly now? And we haven't had the best of starts. I'm not saying it's over, but at the moment, in my opinion, it is over until things change. What have you made of us this season, bruv? Because I'm seeing styles of play that changing again for the 5-6 time in 5 years. I'm seeing same mistakes happening. I'm looking at a bit of a mess in terms of what he's trying to do with this 11. And if I can just go into that, I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Maybe you think I'm talking rubbish because they've done some great things. But I'm seeing one of our guys that we bought for 100 million, who I thought was a 6, now playing in the 8, who doesn't look fit. I'm seeing a guy who is playing in the 6 times, playing at right back. One of our best right backs going over to left back. I'm looking at Trossard now playing in the 10. Havertz, who was our 8, but no longer our 8, playing in the 9. I'm lost, bro. I'm lost. And I'm looking at the style. I don't see fluidity. I don't see creativity. I don't see the scintillating football back in 22-23 when everybody was scared of Arsenal. And I used to come on shows, and I know you did too. I have guys like Matisse, Tobes. I had guys like Grizz going, whoa, I don't want to play you at the moment. Now it's like, come play us. We'll play Arsenal. We'll play Arsenal because we know what they're going to do is lump 46 crosses into the box and hope it hits Gabriel's bonce and goes in. because that's what I'm seeing at the moment from a style, and it ain't good enough, bro. 5 years in, £700 million deep. So where you at this season, bro?
First and foremost, genuinely my first feeling is between sadness and frustration, because last season at times, even the season before early on, but last season in particular, that was some of the most efficient football I've ever seen this club play. You know, at times, I won't say some of the best looking, because we had the Invincibles in that era, Wenger, handbrake off and all that. But in terms of goals, defense, the balance, the domination, keeping the ball, and just, you know, nullifying the opposition, it was some of the best football I've seen from this club. And towards the end of the season, I thought City would drop points in one game, more for me. They didn't. But, you know, after the Villa loss, which I still thought City would drop points in one game, I said if we win the remaining games, we win the league. It didn't happen. We did win the remaining games, but City didn't drop points. So all in all, I looked at last season as it was a tough one to take. It was a tough one to take. But now we know. We've seen Liverpool go toe-to-toe with them. We know what they need. But let's not forget that Havertz and Rice were two key signings going into a season of expectation. Now, Rice had a great season. Havertz had a good half season, or a very good, or whatever, man, before people melt down. So I thought, all right, you know, I'm gonna Havertz for me is an L. That I can say he improved in the second half and he played his part, but overall that transfer was an L because we didn't win the league. And in my opinion, if we had bought a better striker or a better option, we might have had a better chance, because in that first half in both Villa games we should have been 2 up, but we wasn't, because we wasn't clinical. Now, obviously, football's not like that. You can't just say, oh, you have a striker, you win those games, or you get more points. What about other games where Havertz played a part? That's true as well, but I just feel like a better option would have. So I feel like, okay, we bought 100 million, man, and we bought in our highest paid player. We fell just short, game week 38, fine. But I don't forget that you got it wrong with the number 8, who you turned into a striker, who now really is our highest paid player and needs to be on the bench. But I'm going to overlook that, because the focus now isn't how that's going to impact us in 2 years contractually and wage structure wise. I'm going to focus on this season, because I already know that contract means Saka's going to ask for 300. Saliba's going to ask for more. Odegaard's going to ask for more, because they have to be on more than Havertz. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, there is no answer to, boss, I need to be on more than that guy. Don't you think? The answer is yes. Yeah, the answer is yes. So we fucked ourselves there. But I said, let's focus on this season coming. What did you get wrong? What do you need? Cool. We must bring a striker. I even said at the end of last season, if we don't win the league this year, we'll win a major by next year. Because I just thought the club, I'm seeing some quality football, efficient football, and we're 1 or 2 pieces away again. Again, more for me, because we've been 1 or 2 pieces away before. But I just thought, you know what, this time this club has to do it. Even if it is to get that 1 in 20 years and call it a day, like they've done with their other franchises. Let's just get what we need to get done. Then I see the transfer window unfold. I made a point of not speaking about it much throughout the window and not giving too much panic or worry, because I thought, let's just see. But the weeks dragged. I mean, Sesko, news came, news went, and then all of a sudden we're signing a left centre-back from Bologna that had an ACL 18 months prior to play him left back. Yeah, doesn't make sense to me. And then we move into a number 8, which we needed, but we take a hell of a long time with this number 8. All whilst we're asking, where's the attacker we need? Because we've seen Emil Smith-Rowe go, Vieira go, Nelson go, Eddie Nketiah go. So where's the attacker coming in? Because, you know, fine, we wanted them all kind of gone, but we wanted them replaced, not just gone with the wind and that's it. Yeah. But the weeks dragged. Arteta comes and says, we're light the week before the season, the transfer window ends. We're light. He said it. We signed fucking Raheem Sterling. Now Arteta comes out and says, I needed 10 minutes with him to know that he was ready. More PR bullshit. Cool. We know you didn't want him. You said you didn't want him. You was asked, do you want him? You said no. So miss me with that 10-minute bullshit, but you've taken it on like Wenger used to do. 10-minute conversation, cute, nice. All right, make it work then, Mikel. And then he signs the contract and says, best owners in the world, never seen nothing like it. Cool. But then the football on show this season, you can see over coaching, over tinkering, overthinking. One Odegaard injury can't change up the whole approach of the side. That proves that you don't have enough in the tank. That literally proves that you didn't do enough in the window. Where's Nwaneri? Why are you not I told people you can't really rely on the 17-year-old, albeit I want him to start now too, because I'm sick of what I'm seeing. But we ain't closing the gap on City and now Liverpool with a 17-year-old playing amongst players that we've had to wait 6 years to grow and get experience. We're now giving them another 17-year-old in a place. So Arteta's got a lot of that on him. Whether it was his decisions or not, I could argue for and against. But once you say I had 10 minutes with him and I knew he was the guy, and once you say best owners, I'm happy and I get everything I want, I can't talk about the Kroenkes as much as I'd like to, because you've taken it off them. So let's talk about the football. We've gone backwards. We haven't got that fear factor no more. A fear factor can take 2 seasons to build. Generally, it probably takes 2 seasons to build for teams to be like, these men are serious. It can take 10 game weeks to evaporate. It's a gift, and it's the gift and the curse of it. I mean, once you have that fear factor, teams, lose it off the pitch more time because of their approach, because of the nerves, overthinking about us. Now teams are licking their lips, thinking, all right, we can pull off something here. Because don't forget, when we were shit, teams loved beating us because online it was sick. They could put TikToks out, they could put this out, would be vexed, everyone would click. We're the most clickable team. So these teams already have a motivation to pull something out the bag, but they haven't had that last 2 years because we've been pretty solid as a unit. Now it's opening up a little bit. Arteta's got a big job on his hands in the next few weeks, because we have to win the next 10 games. The next 10 games takes us to January 14th. I mean 10 league games. I ain't looking at anything until the next 10 league games. If we don't win the next 10 league games, then there ain't no chance. There ain't no chance. Albeit I don't think there's a chance now. But people will argue that it's still very early. But we must win the next 10 games. So he has to figure it out. Like last season, he figured it out, Dubai or whatever, and the Havertz move. He has to figure it out. Maybe Calafiori plays on the left wing, and maybe we put Gabriel up top. Yeah, maybe that's the one he figures out this time, because we ain't fucking got the necessary pieces to win this game at the moment.
Yeah, listen, I hear you, man. I hear you. Listen, people, there's over 1,000 of you in here, man. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you've gone over to Turkish LDN and the Big Six, and you've done the same over there if you haven't done so already. Look, this is where I'm at, man, right now. I don't care about how many points. I don't care how many points behind people are. I don't care how many points people are in front of us. I look at our performance, Turkish, and it don't matter. Right now, the performance on the pitch is what worries me more than how many points people are around us and surrounding us. I don't give a damn that Chelsea are near us. I don't give a damn about Spurs and United behind us. I don't really care too much for City only being a few points in front of us. I look at our performance and I realise it doesn't matter unless things change right now. Because the way that we're playing is an absolute joke, bro. It really is. And we've lowered the standard so much that I'm hearing man telling me that the Chelsea and Inter Milan games were a massive improvement. Like, let's just be real. There ain't a massive improvement on what I've been seeing in this manager in the last few years. I've seen this manager play scintillating football. Yeah, I've seen this manager have a different few styles of play. That's all good. He can adapt. Brilliant. But pick one and do one right. Because at the moment, this guy looks manic. He looks like he's got 16 ideas and he can't complete one. So he just tries to do all 16 and hopefully one of them will complete. How about do something properly and complete it? And then if you need to change it in a game, then cool. By all means, do that. I don't see this with other managers, by the way. And he's on the sideline, bro. He doesn't look chilled. He's doing all this. Just calm down. You're confusing their life out of everybody right now. Just relax, because the fans ain't relaxed. The fans are like, what's happening? Every time the ball goes in the box, I used to be like, it's cool. We got this. Now it's like, well, if we have any more. And defensively, we used to be resolute, compact. We never used to concede. We've actually tried to muck around with the defense so much, we're now conceding goals by it. I don't know how many more left backs we need to see at this club.
He's trying to fix the attack by changing up the defense,
bro.
I'm getting sick of all that now. Bro,
how many left backs do we need at this club, Maji? Listen, we've had Kieran Tierney when we come in here. I've still not seen one better than him yet, right? And everyone will go, oh, Potts just loves Tierney. He just loves Tierney. Yeah, I do like Kieran Tierney. But you know what? I would have happily upgraded him, but none of these guys have yet. None of these guys have upgraded on him yet. Defensively, no one's been better than him, right? Offensively, you can have a conversation. On the ball, you can have a conversation. If you want your left back to invert, you can have a conversation. But don't tell me that Zinchenko is a better at left back than Kieran Tierney, yeah? Don't tell me that since we brought in guys like Nuntavage, since we brought in guys like Kivior, since we put in guys like Tomiyasu or Timber over there, that we have not got one left back that can hold down a place yet. Now, Calafiori's coming and hopefully in the future, he could do that. But I'm being told he's more of a centre half. Then we've got the left-sided position on Marino. I don't know what your thoughts are on this guy. I'm going to give him the season, but I don't know what this guy is. I don't know if he's a holding midfielder. I don't know if he's an attacking midfielder. Or I don't know if he's a box-to-box midfielder. Or is he, in fact, just another tool that Arteta can use to try and get his bonce on something when it goes in the box? Because that's what it's looking like at the moment to me, bro. Like, it does not look good taking us to that next level. And I'm cool by Marino coming in and potentially upgrading on El Neni. But where's the upgrade or the replacement for Fabio Vieira and Smith Rowe then? We haven't got one. We brought in Raheem Sterling, bro. I remember sitting there going, right, we're too short. No, we're not. We've got Havertz up top. He's going to get 30 goals a season. Okay, cool. Who's coming in to replace Odegaard when he gets injured then? Oh, Odegaard never gets injured. He's durable. Oh, what happened there? And then we're relying on a 17-year-old who, by the way, I think should be actually used a lot more than what the options are that we have got on. Then we've got this left-hand side option, which is incredibly lopsided. 5 years down, you've got no centre forward that we're crying about, but our whole left-hand side looks dead, bro.
It does.
Looks absolutely dead. And Martinelli is affected by that. And I'm not going to start making excuses for him because he needs to look at his performances as well individually. But this left-hand side is awful, man.
Close to being done with Martinelli, man. Seriously,
Yeah,
man. Some of, the tactics is one thing, but when you've got the ball and the defender's right in front of you, like, just fucking do something. Just do something. And far too often, it's just he hasn't progressed. I mean, I look at him, I look at Havertz and Trossard as potentially great. I mean, with Trossard, great bench player. I think Havertz and Martinelli could be great bench players as well.
I agree.
But it goes back to left wing striker. We know we needed that already. We're talking about that again. It's just not good enough. But you are right. And to be honest, I've just got a message about Ben White having an up and being out for a good few weeks. So, yeah.
He hasn't been fit for months, bro. Like, he hasn't been fit for ages. You can see. Like, this is the problem we've got. We've got all these injuries on top of it, but our squad ain't good enough to compete with it. And this is why I've been saying the squad actually isn't that great. It's quite overrated by some of our fan base, in my opinion. I'm not talking about people overrating Saka and these, man. I'm talking about people saying, oh, yeah, well, we've got Sterling to come in. We've got Jesus to come in. We've got Zinchenko to come in. We've got, Jorginho to come in. Come on, man. Like, is this where we've got to in 5 years? And I've got to say, I look at what is happening right now, and I just think, go and buy me a Kvaratskhelia and an Isak or a Gyökeres. Otherwise, we ain't going anywhere next. Because 100%. These are the sort of signings we need to be looking at now. Not this, do you think that maybe, a Raheem Sterling can come and do a job for a couple of years? I'm done with those days. Because we've done this before for years, bro. I've had signings like Denis Suarez and Kim Kallstrom come into the club as stopgaps. Yeah? And, I've got to say this. I wanted to ask you on the Edu thing quickly before I come into that. Bruv, we are in a position at the moment where a lot of fans were getting very, very pissed off with Arsene Wenger and the regime putting players on ridiculous wages that we couldn't move and shift out of the club that we were stuck with. I would argue we're going close towards that again because some of the injury-prone players at this club that need to be moved on are on unbelievable wages. Don't worry about Havertz, who's on 290, by the way. Worry about Jesus, who's on 265. Worry about Tomiyasu and Zinchenko that are on about 190 or something crazy like that. Kieran Tierney's on 135 a week or something mad like that. Yeah? These players are not going to leave because we've stuck them on ridiculous wages again. So when we've gone and got rid of the Mustafis and the Kalasanachis, I know they were worse than these players I've mentioned, but they were on crazy wages. Now we're doing the same thing. We ain't learning. We're sticking these injury-prone players on ridiculous wages and then wondering why no one's going to buy them. Thomas Partey, yeah? He's on 250 a week or something mad. Now, he's been brilliant this season. I'll be more than happy to keep him if he keeps fit. But if we had to get rid of this guy, it's going to be difficult because he's on unbelievable wages. So, Mikel having total control and ownership of it is going to be like basically a mini Arsene Wenger again. And I think it's a bad idea. We need to replace Edu now, in my opinion, with someone coming in with an experienced head. If it's Tim Steinton from West Ham, I'd rather that than Thomas Rosicky or Per Mertesacker, who's Mikel's mate. Do you know what I'm saying? Someone to challenge him, someone to say, look, Mikel, I don't know if you're doing the right thing here. I'll back you all the way, but you need a bit of this. Do you know what I'm saying?
Another example of the Kroenke is not knowing what the hell they're doing is, don't forget, towards the end of Wenger, the common theme was we need to, relieve the whole manager role. It's about head coaches and sporting directors now. It's a tandem. It's, you get two people to work their magic. And Wenger was talking about what's a sporting director, traffic lights, and all of this stuff, right? That was a big thing. Wenger goes, basically gets shown the door. Emery comes in, head coach. Raul Sanllehi is the sporting director. That's the new approach, right? It lasted 18 months. 18 months, Arteta comes in. He's head coach for 6, and then he gets offered the manager role. So a 2-year turnaround. So you identified the problem as being this guy's got too much power. He's manager. He needs help. He needs a voice. He needs a sporting director. You let him go, and then 2 years later, you're back in that same position, giving Arteta the role from head coach to manager, because he's obviously asked for more responsibility and whatnot to take. That just, you know what? I'm not saying they was wrong in doing that, because Arteta, since that and over the last 2 years, like I said, the expectation has risen. So an argument can be made is that he's put us in a good position, even if he was to be sacked now. The expectation is still to, in the next 2 years, win the league for the next manager. If it is to be that, if it's a complete capitulation this season. But yeah, I mean, we're some way off that right now. So it's a difficult one, man, because the cups ain't done yet either. And when I say cups, I mean Champions League is the one I'm really looking at. And when I think about the Champions League, I laugh internally, because it's all that for us is complete luck of the draw. And even if you get luck of the draw, like our European performances under Arteta since Europa League to now has been far from good. Olympiacos, Sporting, Villarreal, even last season Bayern Munich. I think we should have put up a bit more of Saturn against them, but we didn't have the tools, whatever. So our performances in Europe haven't been good enough over the years for me to.
Away from home, in his last 5, he's lost 4 and he hasn't scored in any of them.
Away from home, last 5. Yeah, lost 4. Okay, well, there you go.
Porto, Inter Milan, draw to Atalanta 0-0, and then he's obviously lost to Inter Milan, and there's one more as well. Must be the other champion. Oh, Bayern Munich. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just, it ain't good enough in Europe. And look, a lot of people ask me, what do you want, Premier League or Champions League? I always used to say Premier League, but I just so want that Champions League to shut City and Chelsea fans up who still think they're bigger than us, right? Because we win that and they can't say nothing to me. They can't say nothing to me anyway, in my opinion. But if we win that, then they really can't. So for me, that's why I want the Champions League this season over the Premier League. I think the Premier League, we're going to need a miracle now. We're going to need Liverpool and City to really crumble in a couple of periods of their season. And domestic cups, I never think. I know you're not for the Carabao Cup. I've always liked the League Cup. It's one of the first things I saw as win. So I've always believed it had history, and I'm happy with the league and the FA Cup, etc. But we've got to be challenging at the very top to be doing that as well. Otherwise, I don't know where this goes, man.
Don't listen. I do sometimes go too far with the League Cup. I do look at it as a cup to look at your youngsters. I've enjoyed the League Cup this season more than most in the Emirates era, because it has a big Lewis Skelly, Nwaneri, and other young players here and there. Cool. That's what it's about for me. But I'd like to win it. But I also know our fan base, Dan. We go and win the League Cup, finish 4th, and nothing else. Best believe there won't be no pressure from this fan base. Best believe that League Cup will be looked at as some mad thing, because that's just the general. That's just what we do as a family. Like, I say we because we are Arsenal fans, but the League Cup cannot be used at the end of the season as a metric of success and an acceptable progression from the last 2 seasons of challenging for a league title. The League Cup is not that. So I like the League Cup, but I always have to caveat that with saying, listen, don't give me the League Cup and ask me am I full. I'm definitely not going to be full come May. That's without a doubt. So I like it, win it, but it's for me it's May is where you win the big ones. Where are you in May?
That's fair. And look, I've always said win that Carabao, because then or the League Cup, whatever you want to call it, because then winning breeds confidence to go and win something else in May. And you ask Pep and Jose that they did that all the time with Chelsea and Man City, right? So for me, that's why I believe that we should be winning it. And let's be real, bro. The teams left in it, we should win this cup now.
Mm-hmm.
It should be our name on it in May. Well, it's not May, is it? February, March. It
But
should
Liverpool,
be our name on it. Yeah, Liverpool in it, but I still believe that we can on our day beat them. I look at our squad and I think that I've got respect for Liverpool and always have, and I thought they'd be in a title race this season again. But all the other teams, we should be blitzing them, man. Sorry,
yeah.
We're better than Tottenham. We're better than United. We're better than Newcastle. Don't give me any of this crap about and we should be beating Palace, by the way, at home. So don't know, but you've got these team in it, this team in it. Nah, man, we go and win this competition. That's what we should be doing. We're starved of trophies right now. This is too long. This is the longest trophy drought we've had in a decade, bro. So I can't be looking at it going, don't worry about League Cups and FA Cups. Put them in the bin and go for the big boys. Nah, none of that crap, man. Not for me. So that's the way I see it, man. Look, I wanted to come to a sort of close with this section about Edu because I don't know what your thoughts are. A lot of people believe that it's a good thing he went. Some people saying it's a bad thing he went. Other people are saying something's going on behind the scenes here. How do you look at this situation and what do we do now? Because everyone wants signings in January. We ain't got a sporting director at the moment.
I don't give a shit, Dan. I'm not gonna use this as no excuse. For me, cool. You're gone. What's next? Sort it out. But we still need to win something. We still need to buy a player in January. I'm not having Edu leaving as an excuse for it because you've been selling us this whole process for years. So surely, not like the team when Odegaard comes out, everything changes. Surely Edu coming out of this, everything doesn't change because surely the process has made sure that it's not all about one man or two man. Surely the process has made sure it's about the whole cogs behind the scenes working in conjunction. So Edu's gone. Cool. Was it a success? I'd say 50-50. You can argue for and against. I think he helped in a lot of ways, but he let himself and us down in a lot of ways, especially with the outgoings. But am I going to sit here and tell you who I want next or who I don't want next? Or this club needs to win, whether Rosicky comes in, whether it's Overmars, whether Raul Sanley does a U-turn, or whether we get whoever we get from whatever club. I don't care who it is, bro, because I don't want to hear no new process comes in with this new guy. I don't want to hear none of that shit. He needs to come in and be part of this process that we've been seeing for the last 4 years. And it means you continue on to what we need to continue on to. Win a major, sign some good fucking players.
Facts. Bro, it's so facts. Like, we need to get someone in with experience that can hit the ground running. And I really don't want it to be a Thomas Rosicky or a Per Mertesacker who's Arteta's mate, who's going to be working alongside him to say, I'll support you with whatever you need, Mikel, because Mikel actually has got quite a lot wrong. And let's not forget that Edu made some good signings, but he also made some shambolic signings, bro. People forget about this. This is the guy who bought about 4 goalkeepers in the club that couldn't catch a cold. We're talking about someone who's brought in Lokonga and Nuntavage and what's his name up top? Fabio Vieira, Pablo Marie, Cedric. The list goes on. Like William was responsible for. Remember, when he first come in, David Luiz. So I'm not having this. Oh my God, he brought Saliba and Odegaard to the club and Declan Rice. Yes, he also bought some trash. So I need someone to come in that has experience now and that isn't just a yes man, in my opinion, man. But listen, man, let's do some of these super chats. Mohammed says, I think Arteta lost the players. Saka in interview wanting to attack but forced to defend. Saliba's body language. Rice follows League.
I only
Rice
saw
following League Gunner.
saw that recently. Is that true? Yeah,
it is true. Yeah.
I saw that. True. I was like, well, this is crazy.
I know,
that is
right?
That is crazy though. That is crazy. I can't lie to you. That is mad. Whether he finds it funny or not, I mean, you could Saka in an interview wanting to attack but force to defend. Saliba's body language. The body language thing, I'd leave out. I mean, I'd say there's you could argue the other ones. There might be something in it. But the body language thing, I've heard that from Day. I mean, look at our greatest player, another Frenchman. He used to always be spoken about his body. Is he happy at Arsenal? Is it? But that was just him. But listen, I know Saliba. I know Militao year on year ACL. I know, the sharks will be circling, and we ain't talking 100. Blue sharks from Manchester. We are talking great white sharks from Spain. No one can mess with them. We've seen it before. The bigger clubs than us have seen it in this league. So once they come knocking for Saliba, we have to have had at least a title under our belts prior to that. Because if we don't, replacing Saliba, Good luck.
Bro, Saliba's going to go to Real Madrid. I just hope it ain't this summer. I just hope it ain't this summer. And this was one thing I said, Turkish, when this process started. This is a youth project. Excuses to give us a few years, in my opinion. This is a process. Excuses to give us a few years of winning nothing. I said, we've already done this 3 times. We've already done this. I'd seen this with Fabregas and Van Persie. They both left. I see it with Jack Wilshere, Ramsey, Walcott, Oxlade-Chamberlain. Who was it? Gibbs and Jenkinson all lined up in a row, signing. They all left. Never happened. Nothing happened with them. And now we're doing it for the third time with Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard and Saliba. And let's hope it's third time lucky, because otherwise they're all going to leave because we don't win anything under this ownership. Big up to Mohammed. This one comes in from Suj. This is a lovely one as well. Big up to Suj. Says, big up Dan, community, and a guy who made me start watching YouTube content in Turkish. You've got me through a lot recently. Let's get Dan to 30k, big 6 to 70k, Turkish to 100k. Love for the love. Come on, bro.
Yeah, man. Big up Suj, man. Always support him, and hopefully you're good, Suj, man. I know you was going through some stuff recently, health-wise, but hopefully you're going strong, my guy.
Yeah, come on, man. Absolute legend. Jumped on the other day as well, which was nice to see his face and put a name to the face as well, for sure. In terms of our transfer window, it's been that poor for years. Only window with a pass mark was when we got Rice. We're still 5 or 6 players short.
That's the only window in the Emirates era that you could say it gave us the belief that we can go do something in the season ahead. Imagine that's the only window we've had in 20 years since moving into this Emirates where it left us feeling like we can go and do something. That is unforgivable. It's embarrassing. I don't know how these owners get away with this, but on to the next phase.
You know what's mad is I actually remember that one shutting, thinking that's a good start, but where is the XYZ? I remember moaning about that.
Yeah, even that, but you thought like you still.
But you're right though, yeah.
I thought to myself, well, Havertz is a mad one, but fuck it, we got Rice on the cool. You know, we just
Timber,
Timber, but then he got KO'd.
Yeah, 100. This is an interesting one as well from Darren. Says, let's not forget that we wanted Sesko. And I know you mentioned that earlier. And this is why when people say to me, we didn't want a striker. Well, we nearly got this Vlahovic. We nearly got this Sesko. Nearly got is a bit extreme. But you know what I'm saying? We linked with these players. They obviously looked at this Sesko situation. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this Sesko, brother. I think, well, when you can't lay a glove on Celtic the other night for Leipzig and you get bounced by them, I'm kind of done. I don't really want these players. For me, it's got to be Vlahovic or Isak. And if you want a January signing, it ain't going to be one of those two. Maybe Marmoush from Frankfurt, who's balling at the moment. Other than that, I'm not really interested in Seskos and all these guys coming, Jonathan Davids and all this kind of stuff. I want to be getting someone in that takes this across the line. And for me, it has to be better than Havertz, and I don't know that this guy is, bro. What do you make of it?
When we was linked to him, I was just like, all right, cool. Like we're getting a striker in early. I don't mind a bit of noise about him. You know, he's one that, you know, will require a little bit of patience, but he's one that will also improve our attack because we don't have a striker. So I didn't mind it, bro. Like, don't get it twisted. I'm not thinking he's the finished article or he's a guarantee. But I'm at the point now, like I said earlier, don't ask me who I want as striker. Don't ask me who I want as midfielder or next manager or anything like that. Don't ask me. Just they need to do what they need to do. And Vlahovic was 2022. Yeah. 2022 January. It's been 2.5 years since then. And then Sesko's the next one identified. That's why don't ask me about it, because are you telling me that in 2.5 years, there's only 2 strikers we've managed to identify? And within those 2.5 years, whilst we're identifying strikers, we bring Jesus and Havertz to fill in up front. Doesn't make no sense. But why after Sesko, no noise? Surely the reason you go in early is to wrap it up early, get him in. He doesn't want to. He signs a contract. He thinks he's going to stay. And it comes out that we told him that he'll be behind Havertz. Nonsense. Move on to the next striker then. Move on. The whole point of going early, we didn't move on to the next striker. We bought a guy from Bologna that plays left centre back. I don't get it. I don't get it, bro. We need a striker, bro. Like, we need a striker. We buy a left centre back. This dates back to Wenger times as well. We need a striker. We buy a DM with a broken back. Like, what's going on at this club? It's crazy what we do. Just give us a striker. We're built off quality strikers. Our history has strikers galore. different types, pacey, aggressive, artistic. Now, come on, man. Havertz is a lot closer to Olivier Giroud than any of our greats. And when
Well,
Olivier
I
Giroud
said
was
this.
here,
Go back to 2016, we had Giroud and then Sanogo was the only other guy. Do you remember? A little similar to what we are now. I know Jesus is better than Sanogo, but I don't think Giroud is anything different to what Havertz is, if I'm honest with you. I'd actually think Giroud is better. So I'm in this situation now. I'm thinking, I remember the last time we won the league, we had Henri, Bergkamp, Kanu, and Wiltord at our club. Like now we're looking at it as Havertz and Jesus. I know it's different in terms of us playing a different formation because 4-4-2's gone out the window now, but come on, man. You're telling me you can't give me in 5 years someone better than Havertz and Jesus, and your 5 attackers are Trossard, Sterling, Willian, Havertz, and Jesus. Get in the bin, man.
listen,
Honestly.
Gyökeres 60 mil release clause or 65 mil. I don't even care if it's 80 mil. January, you go do that, Arsenal, because this season so far has been a complete and utter letdown. And the only way you can even say sorry about it is to go get Gyökeres in January. And I say him because he's got a release clause. I'm not asking you to go dilly-dally and negotiate with anyone else. Just go break that release clause, sign him up. And that's your sorry. This season does look like it's gone down the pan, but here's the striker. He's got 5 months to bang, and then he starts next season. The least you can do after telling everyone about processes and cogs and systems and all the bullshit for years is get what you need to get. No excuses. We should have 65 M's to spend in January. Easy. We made profit.
Facts. Bro, has to be Gyökeres. I've been banging that drum for a while, so I'm with you. Last couple of these. I feel that players don't believe Arteta can win titles. They've seen 3 years from Arteta not crossing the line, and they're not buying what's needed. They aren't dumb. Do you think there's like a sort of worry that the players may fall out of love with what's happening around the place? Because I feel like they are on the boat still with Arteta. I feel like the players are still trying for him. I just don't think Arteta's always got it right. But I do believe that if this continues for a couple of seasons, they're all going to start to think, when are we going to win then? Like the fans are now.
Yeah, we've seen that before as well, bro. Fabregas, Van Persie, 2 prime examples. Alexis Sanchez, probably another. All of these players essentially left. Well, I'd say Fabregas is the exception. He was always going to go Barca, but maybe he went earlier than he could have because we kind of just put everything on his shoulders. But Van Persie and Sanchez in particular probably are 2 most all-round accomplished players in the Emirates era. You could add Ozil to that as well. They eventually saw the club for what it is, a club that's more worried about profits than really challenging for the major honours. Van Persie's move was successful, Sanchez's was unsuccessful, but the reasons behind it was clear. Arsenal are not showing enough ambition. They're not building a unit to really go and win majors. And at some point, a player's either going to care about making more money or making more of their legacy. And the greats make more of their legacy whilst making more money as well, funnily enough. But yeah, I think Saliba, Odegaard, Saka, they're all at ages now where in the next 2 years, of course, they're going to need to win because it's all good and well liking a manager. It's all good and well feeling at home somewhere. But once, how are you going to feel when that club that does win everything decides to knock on your door and say, maybe it's time to fulfill some of the legacy you need to fulfill rather than, care about this lovey-dovey crash kind of, feeling that the Arsenal fan base do with Arsenal sometimes. This is a football club. We need to win. We will build, our name and reputation has been built off winning as well, as much as the class and tradition and all this thing. It's been, look at what, 13 league titles, 3rd most successful club in this country, only for the last 20 years to breed a generation of fans that think Arsenal are just some, people tell me, even Arsenal fans tell me, we're not a big club. Like, you've also got to miss me with that shit as well. I understand where it's coming from, but it's nonsensical to say that. You might as well bend over for the Kroenkes and take it, because at the end of the day, that's what they want. We are a big club. We're massive. It's just that since they've taken over, since you've been born, and not you, Dan, but the 20-year-olds and whatnot, since, you haven't seen us win. That's not to say, fall in line with it. We are a big club. They're just taking the piss.
Bro, we've been a big club and they haven't been acting like a big club at times. I can agree with that statement, but we're massive, bro.
Yeah,
We're
we never
massive.
have. We
No,
never
I'm
have.
saying. So that's the way I see it, bro. Last couple of these halftime hooks. Big up hooks, man. Hope you're well, man. Says I
Hey,
can't lie. You met hooks last night, right?
yeah.
Yeah, love, man, love, legend. Says I can't lie. I hear the sadness and frustration. I'm at my wits' end. This club's headlocking me. Hope Jesus. I'm not gonna get my hopes up with January if I'm honest with you, because January for me is just January. It is no transfer window. We've seen in the last four, we bought three players: Kivior, Jorginho, and Trossard. In
Yeah.
that time, we've let our best striker go in a long time in Aubameyang. Not that I believe he should have stayed. Haven't replaced him. Basically, gave him away to Barcelona for free. I think we even paid him 7 million just to get his contract gone. They went
Yeah.
and sold him for 12 million to Chelsea the following one. So I'm sitting there thinking, this is not going to be much of a muchness. Obviously, the last January window we were shouted at PSR, FFP. You think we're going to get that again? FFP shots?
I'm tired of hearing these fucking letters, Dan. I'm sick of these. I'm sick of these letters that it's only us that hold them to high regard. Every other club seems to, work around it or work under it or over it. We just let it slap us in the face and stop everything. Stop the press. FFP, PSR. Shut up, man. Forget all that shit. Yeah, I mean, let's see what happens with City. I mean, if City beat these charges, then there ain't no excuses for the Kroenkes anymore. Go and break every law there is, because if these lot get away with what they've done, yeah, these FFPs and PSRs are it's all bullshit, right? I don't even agree with them in the first place. I don't even agree with them. How does it keep football fair? How Because
Nah.
Man City fans do have an argument there in terms of a lot of their argument. Some of their argument comes from how did FFP come in to keep things fair when a club lower down can't spend the money to catch up to a club? Essentially, you spend what you earn. So from that moment, whoever's a big club has more money to spend than the lower club. But yes, the TV revenue gets. There's so much more to it than just they've been charging this and that. Bro, these laws and shit. I mean, fuck FFP and fuck PSR, man. Real talk. Wenger was bending over to those letters 5 years before they even become a thing. 5 years, it's
Bro,
coming, it's coming, it's coming. It came, it went. It's bullshit.
bro, I've got to agree with you. I think this FFP and PSR thing is nonsensical. I also actually believe that it could benefit the likes of Manchester City, who have got their squad, and they've got their squad they've
Yeah,
built for a decade. You've got Newcastle 300 odd billion in the bank, and they can't spend it because these rules have now been implemented. How are they supposed to catch up then? How is that fair? They've got loads of money. I should be allowed to spend it, right? But I can't because these new laws have come in that everyone else did spend money, and now I'm late to the party and I want to spend it too. Nah, now you can't. We let them lot, but you're not allowed to. Like, come on, man, it's absolute crazy. I don't think it's. I think it's a madness for me. And there are people who are saying that this Declan Rice and Havertz deal has now cost us the best part of 2 or 3 windows because we've spent this much money. Like, the Cronkies in 20 years or whatever they've been in charge since 2008 now have actually spent 200 million of their own money in 20 years, which is nothing, by the way.
of course, nothing
That's all
wrong.
they've spent.
10 million a year. Taking the piss. But listen, I mean, after this summer, I did look at Havertz and Rice and say highest paid player, highest fee for a player. Those are the two players that were meant to be our Allison and Van Dijk. So
Mm.
last season, like I said, Rice great season, Havertz half good season. This season now we're in. It was meant to be Rice kicks on, Havertz kicks on. We add the remaining pieces. We go and win the league, right? Well, as much as we didn't add the remaining pieces, I'm also looking at Havertz and I'm also looking at Rice.
Facts, bro. Facts. I'm looking at quite a few players actually. The last super chat is from Suji. He says, Turkish, all good, brother. I hit you up on Instagram with deets, so he's dropped you a line. So
Cool.
come on, bro. Absolute ledge, Suj. Look, lastly, man, before we come to a close, Turkish, I've just got to ask you, man. This season, a lot of people are going to have pressure for Mikel. What has to happen for him to stay? And what do you think should happen if he underachieves, bro?
We have to win something. But finishing third, not good enough. we have to move forward. We have to think about the options. Finishing third off the back of that live. I mean, finish it. I keep on mentioning Liverpool, even Man City. Looking at them now, finishing behind both. It's laughable now me saying it because we've been shit, but it's very poor. It's a step backwards, and yeah, we'd have to assess our options. Finishing third for sure. Obviously, finishing third in Champions League, different. That's why I like to wait for these things to play out before really giving a definitive answer to it. But yeah, we've got to win. We've got to win the Premier League or Champions League. We've got to win it. Sorry if I'm entitled,
Yeah,
but
nah, it ain't. Look, for me, if he wins a trophy and he challenges, I'm cool with that. And I don't care what trophy it is because I've always been about winning trophies. Of course, I'd like it to have an order of priority. Champions League, Premier League, of course, they come above the FA Cup and the League Cup. They always will and always have done, right? But for me, I just feel like we need to get to that end and say, look, we ain't regressed. We're still here. We've got that. We're lifting that trophy. If we ain't doing that, I really don't know how people can want to keep Mikel. And I know that he probably will stay safe because as long as he gets top four, these owners will keep him. So he might be stuck with him for a bit.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like for me, he has to drop out of that top four to have a conversation for the the Kroenkes to say, oh yeah, maybe we need to do something about this. But then the fan base also need to get on that bandwagon as well. And I'm not sure that they will because there's a lot of fans that are still in love with Mikel and what he's done at Arsenal. So look, man, it's a long way, but the one thing is there's a long way to go. And, we are already in November. So, maybe we can claw something back and we're still in all of the cups. So that is one positive, man, for sure. So let's see how the season pans out. But my bro, thank you so much for coming on, man. You're absolute ledge, man. I really appreciate it, bro.
No worries, G. Come on, man. Anytime I'm free, I can make it. I'll be here, bro.
I love for that, man. Make sure you go and do me a favor. Make sure you're following Turkish. Make sure you're following the Big Six, putting out unreal content, man. And make sure you hit the like and the subscribe. Make sure you check out Manscaped as well, sponsors. They've showed us some love. Make sure you show them some love by going over there. You can click on the pinned comment or in the description. Take you straight to the link and you'll get 20% off using that link. Or you can just use the code FTM20. They've got lots of new products at the moment for Christmas, so make sure you go check them out, people. Turkish, what you got coming up, my bro?
Nothing, international break. I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm chilling now, man. Let me see what's going on. I mean, these men have pulled out of Odegaard's pulled out, Saka Rice pulled out. So, I'm just expecting a calm week, and then next week I'll be back with Big Six and my channel and all of that stuff.
Love, man. Love. Make sure you're following both of them. And I'll be back later tonight. We've got another Arsenal panel. Make sure you go check out last night's Arsenal roundabout as well. Whereas ever Gal and Northside were going at it. And we'll see you a bit later on. And until then, take it easy. We're out of here.